r/AskReddit. Doctors, what was the best excuse you've heard for someone having something stuck in their ass? Had a guy with a screwdriver up there, handle first. He was honest. Said the wife wanted to try something new. Why the screwdriver? Something shaped like a duck would have been gay. I always thought that was a real weird place to draw that line. I guess you could say he got screwed. I've got this one. Not a doctor but Tridge. Guy comes in, walking, kinda awkwardly. Doesn't take a seat. When it's his turn, he's called up to Tridge and again, refuses to sit. What brings you in today? I said. I've lost a glass. You know, like a tumbler. / shuffles. Okay. So, why are you here? Well, we had a party that got out of hand last night. I was cleaning the house this morning and I noticed one of my drinks glasses was missing. And I think it might be up my ass. That's it as far as explanation, but sure enough, there it was on x-ray. Rim side first, so after it disappeared up his asshole, it basically filled itself with shit. Now, anytime people that know the story ask if I've seen something they've lost, I ask if they've checked their asshole. I'm impressed and horrified that it was in rim side first. I mean, how? Worked on ambulances, not a doctor. Mostly bottles or vegetables. The aubergine was the biggest, but potatoes and carrots seemed to be popular. Ketchup, mayo and glass cola bottles were common at one point. Also one butt plug and a toilet brush. The last two were honest and very distraught. Others all had naked gardening stories. There's an even worse question you haven't asked, which is 4 things people have shoved up their urethras. Only men in my experience. My friend is a nurse. She told me about a guy who came into her He claimed to have fallen out of a tree and a branch went right up his ass. They x-rayed him, and he had this perfectly round wooden rod up his ass. When they removed it, they saw that it was sanded, painted and primed. That branch must have come from a genetically modified species of tree lol. This is the second comment about a potato I've seen, and I just don't get it. Carrot? Sure, I guess. Sweet potato? That's at least still a shape that makes sense. But a potato? I'm a nurse, a male as well. Guy came to my hospital with a cue ball stuck in his rectum. Said him and his wife were having sex and this happened. Made no excuses and showed no shame. Doc was unable to remove it with forceps, and he had to get an anesthesia to have a minor surgical procedure to get it out. My job was basically to just go through a pre-surgical checklist and send him on his way. When I'm done he shouts excitedly, "Alright, let's get this ball rolling." I almost died laughing. It was near the end of my shift and I always wonder what happened to him. I'm sure he did fine and is back to having amazing kinky sex with his wife. Guy told me he was constipated, so he stuck the broom handle up there to break up the poop. I almost believed him. Edit, it was half of a broom handle, cut off and wrapped in electrical tape, all the way inside his ass. Guy came in with a cordless phone up his ass, like one of the old school ones from 15 years ago. He said that, when he was in the kitchen bending over opening the oven door, someone threw it through his open window and it just went right up. Guy puts a vibrator, one of the massive cordless wand types, way up there, like a mega seed, and it gets sucked into the sigmoid colon. When he gets to me in the ear I ask him how he was feeling. He answered, "Well doc, I'm way better, since the batteries died." Made my night. Not an ass, but a vagina. I was doing my clinical rotation in 3rd year. Did a cervical assessment on 36-week pregnant woman who thought she was in labor, painful cramping, plus discharge. I found 8 cloves of garlic. She thought she could avoid group B strep with it. She read it online. She thought they would dissolve one. You can't avoid GBS like this too. They turn to slimmer mush bulbs. They don't dissolve. She was not in labor. She was responding to an infection. A nasty one. She was admitted for fluids, object removal, meds, and monitoring of fetus for treatment overnight. I finished my 24H shift before the next stop wrapped up. Cramping stopped very soon after we got it all out. Last I saw her she was just feeling sad and dumb. I felt really awful for her. She was trying to do the right thing for her pregnancy. GBS. Gut bacteria found in 1/3 of adults at any time. Some cow tries scream for its presence because in rare cases it does nasty things to baby if they get colonized at birth. ER nurse. I tried to dig something out of my ass with a BBQ skewer. Skewer got stuck. Ripped a hole in his intestines. He waited so long to come in he was septic. One stat or visit and an ICU stay later. Please don't call my mom. Guy was tripping hard on LSD. So I actually once did fall naked in my bedroom and my ass cheek smashed hard onto the end of a small dumbbell that was angles up at 45 degrees. I'm coming to realize, after reading all of this, that had it hit the bullseye, no one would fucking believe me. My sister is a surgical nurse and a guy came into the hospital with a pool noodle shoved up his ass. It was so deep that they had to cut open his abdomen, intestines, and colon to cut the foam out of him. He said he fell on it while swimming nude. But when they cut him open it had a condom stretched over the end of it. When they confronted him, he said please, don't tell me wife. Edit. Wow, thank you everyone for the upvotes and awards. This is my sister's favorite or story to tell. She tells about all the things she's seen after she's had a few drinks, but this one is the best one. Friend is a stomach surgeon so always gets called in to pull things out of asses. He has loads of stories, but the one I remember is a guy who had a glass ketchup bottle up his ass. He'd claimed to have returned home with his grocery shopping, realized he'd lost his key so put shopping down, and attempted to climb through a high window. He slipped, fell backwards ass first onto his groceries and SHLUM. The ketchup bottle just shot up his a-hole. Ignore that guy was presumably not naked at time. After removing it at the hospital, my doctor friend said back quote that's strange. The ketchup you bought is only half full. I think the worst thing is that it suggests he was gonna eat the rest of it another time. 20 years ago, an ex was an ER nurse. A guy came in with a magic mushroom air freshener stuck up in there. He was embarrassed and did not even attempt to explain it. She said that when the doctor got it out, he said funny, it doesn't smell pine fresh. And everybody laughed. I'm kind of surprised that didn't lead to a lawsuit. RN here. Had a Jehovah's Witness gentleman admitted to ICU with his bowels perforated. States he had constipation, so he decided he needed a cleaning. He happens to do pipe work, so he hooked some pipes up to the hose then inserted the other end in his rectum to just give it the old swish and dump. Burst his colon from the pressure and all the hard pipe crammed up his butt. Unfortunate thing was he needed a blood transfusion but oops, he's a Jehovah's Witness so no go. I learned then that they actually send a group of people to the hospital to watch you and make sure you don't stray from your faith. I always wondered what he told them. It wasn't an excuse, and it wasn't the ass. A young lady in Riverside, Texas, very heavy meth presence, was dared to stick a live catfish in her vagina. She shoved it in head first. Those who know catfish know they have very sharp dorsal fins. Well, the dorsal fins lodged in the walls of her vagina and became stuck. She came into the ER screaming in pain with a live catfish flopping all willy-nilly out of her privates. I wish I still had a copy of that x-ray. I once had to take a guy to the OR to remove a cucumber from his rectum, since it had migrated up further than could be extracted manually. I don't remember his excuse, but it had been in there for more than a week, and when we took it out it had started to pickle. Impickle it. You asked for the best, but I have the worst, but possibly the most honest response I've gotten. I was an EMT and ran a call at a methadone clinic. She was a 28-year-old female who had possibly odd. When we got there she was sitting on the ground completely naked. My captain asked what was up her ass, to which I responded quickly as trash bag sir, for some reason there was a contractor bag jammed right up her anus. My captain ordered me to remove it, and it felt like I was a magician pulling a bunch of napkins out of a dove, or whatever magicians do. She looks at me without a word, until I asked her why there was a trash bag up her ass, at which point she responded we didn't have a condom. This was my second week on the job. Not a doctor, but I don't know that I'll have a chance to share this again. Growing up there was an urban legend about a local bloke that had to have a butternut pumpkin, squash, removed from his ass. Fast forward 25 years, and I'm reading the book written by my dad's liver specialist, and lo and behold, it wasn't a legend. In fact, an entire chapter was dedicated to gentlemen with foreign objects needing removal from arse and bladder.